Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at the Mongols. We're going to be looking at a Keshik archer trade build where we go deer stones to fool our opponent into thinking we're not going to trade. Then we go aggressive but build up trade in the back. So it's a really cool build that you can use in your ranked games. I'm going to show you a game here. We'll provide the build order in the description as usual. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. When we spawn in, we're going to be using our maneuver arrow with our Khan to speed up our units. We're going to be building an Obu, and we'll be placing our TC in a good spot that has access to wood, preferably also gold and stone. One of those resources would be beneficial sometimes. You can build it on the Obu, like here, or you could build it in between the wood lines over here. This is the pit, so sometimes you get some really good spawns here. Sometimes you get some spawns where the gold is kind of far away. The gold is up here. After that, we're going to be queuing villagers, and we're going to queue them onto sheep. When the Obu is finished, the builder is going to go to the sheep afterwards. On the straggler tree here, however, we have placed our Gurry beside it, and then we're going to chop one full straggler tree. That's 150 wood. We're going to use that wood for our pasture that we'll be going for, because sometimes you can get unlucky and not get as many sheep. So that will secure you food for the early stages of the game. These guys gather 150, then they move back to food. The Gurry itself will be moved over to the gold, and we'll be building a pasture now. We're going to be going up to 8 on food, then 2 on gold, and then 2 more to food. The Khan is going to be scouting around for sheep early. We're not going to go directly to our opponent's base. We're playing against the Abbasid dynasty here, so in theory, if he doesn't go military wing, a tower rush could be really good here. But I think this build is just as viable. I think if you go and tower rush and then you meet a military wing, you're going to be put really far behind, and you'll have a harder time catching up once the opponent gets the second town center out after having dealt with your tower rush, of which they don't need any production buildings. They just need the units that are spawned in with the military wing. And this goes for other civilizations as well, against Rus, against the English. I think this build works as well. Maybe you should get another scout against Rus, of course, to take out the hunts. Anyways, we got 2 on gold, we've got 10 on food. I'm going to be going up to 11, that's a little bit of a mistake. We want to go to wood from now on. We're going to go up to 7 on wood. So, I'm going to take one guy over and put him on wood instead. When we are able to age up, which will be in about 15 seconds in game time, we're going to age up with 5 food villagers. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to get a pretty good age up time and, you know, not get too far behind. But if we age up with 5, we're still going to be able to drop a stable and an archer range immediately, and because we've built the Ovu early, we can get a lot of units out really quickly with the use of double production. Deer stones go down. This will indicate to our opponent that we're not going to go trade, but this is where the build is really clever, because that's when you go trade anyways. You're not going to go for it immediately. You're not going to drop a market upon age up right beside it, because then you're going to be building traders up, but you're not going to build army immediately. We want to be building a little bit of army first, go harass, and then keep building army whilst we're also getting traders. Deer stone is being built. We're still on gold. We're going to stay on gold for the time being, until we get a good amount of traders up to not be on gold anymore. Ovu here, got the pasture, producing the sheep. We're still rallying to food until we reach 7, and then we go back on food with the rally point. When you age up, which we have just done now, we're going to be going with a stable and an archery range immediately. You should have 300 wood at this point to do so. After that, you'll be queuing Keshiks, you'll be queuing archers, and you'll be queuing them with the double production. It's a good idea to move the deer stones into a manner where you can have all of your units under the food, the wood, but also the new units here to get a little bit of movement speed early on. Double produce lances / Keshiks. I don't know why they call lances here. That's so weird. Anyways, archers, Keshiks, move the scout forward. Check out your opponent. Where are the resources? Usually they have the wood line in the back here at the big wood. And then they have gold, berries, stone you can try to hit. With the Abbasid, they can get a second town center out at this time. So I'll probably find a second town center, which I do at this point, that's already been built, because it's a very high priority for the Abbasid dynasty. So I'm going to try to go around the gold here. He's got to be able to secure food and gold, which could indicate that he would go Castle Age. He can, if I can lock him out of wood, that's probably going to be his best bet. He went for Eco Wing, so he might also go for another town center. At this stage, I'm still gathering food with 14 villages, 7 on wood. Now I'm going to go up to 4 and then 5 a little bit later on gold, because we're going to need 5 on gold for constant production of Keshiks. So, gonna move in. We're gonna be doing some damage here. We found the wood line. He's already walled off here, but he did a little bit of over chopping, so use that to your advantage when people do so. I get 1 villager kill here. You want to get out immediately because the town center does deal a lot of damage. Take the Keshiks, have a look at the back here, check out if he's still on stone. The best thing to do here is to just click on the stone, and then you can be able to tell how much they have gathered, and that's gonna show you whether or not they're gonna go for more than 1 more town center. Right, we've got the 4 on gold, we've got about 14 on food, 7 on wood. Now we're building a market, we're around the 7-minute mark. We're gonna be going with the superior mobility when we can afterwards, because we want to get the market into the opposite corner of the neutral market, which is in this corner. Usually the markets spawn in the corners, sometimes they'll spawn a little bit more out here, and that's when this can get kind of tricky. You don't have to play market, you can play really aggressive with rams and so on. You can also go with a second town center, that's an alternative if the market options are too bad for you. So go with the second town center instead, put way more in wood, gather enough, go with the second. If you're up against an opponent like the Abbasid, you can even go for a third, but I would recommend going 2 town center and then into Castle Age or a feudal push. My opponent is going to go 3rd age, and this puts me in a bit of a tough position because he's going to be able to produce more armored units, but he goes for lances. Because he goes for lances, he's going to be able to be countered by the spearmen. So what you're going to do is you're going to be building a barracks when they go for lances. If he goes for men-at-arms, you're going to be making another stable and then go heavy on Keshiks. Because the Keshiks, they have a higher base damage, they have 15 base damage, and they'll be able to counter the men-at-arms. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit now, because there was a couple of people on the last video that wanted to see this in action. They wanted to see under pressure and so on. So, in this game, I sense that I have to stay in feudal for a little bit longer to build up my trader economy. And I'm also going to try to take out more and more villagers here. So, I'm going to head into caster mode now. You can see the villager difference. It's negligible. We actually have more villagers if you count the traders as well. So, about the same eco. But he's pushing now with armored units. These are H3 units, crossbows as well. And I take a bad fight here, which puts me in a very bad position. Because I can't counter this. I don't have enough spearmen. They're only coming in now. And this means the game is not lost. Though some people would think that. If you lose an army like this, it's very bad for you. But what you can do is get back to your base, rally your units inside of your base, because your opponent is going to try to hit your trade now. What you're going to do is you're going to be double producing and just producing new units, preferably a lot of spearmen, because in this case we see a lot of cavalry. And our goal now is to build up a bigger trade economy, but also getting an army up and running again, because we can't just go castle and then get armored units out, because he has lances, he has camel riders. This means that our Keshiks aren't going to do a lot. He also has crossbows, so armored units are going to be counted. What we want to do is we want to build up a normal feudal army and then get ourselves safely to castle. But I'm going to skip a little bit ahead here. We lose some traders, which means we're going to have to build more markets. The goal here is to stall the game for as long as possible, take relics when you get to castle, but get a good amount of traders up. You want to be building traders until you win the game. Keep taking good fights here. Build up a good army again. Don't be afraid to stay in feudal for a long time, even though your opponent's in castle, because as long as you get your trade up, you can still win the game. If you lose all your trade and they're on 2 town centers, things start to become rough. Add in more markets here. Move these guys up to the corner. And then try to deny relics. Alright, so we just got to H3, which means we can get our upgrades now. We can get our armored units as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep producing spears here. We're going to be producing crossbows and archers and get the archer upgrade. Then we have the Kurultai. We're going to use the Kurultai to help us in our fights. It heals us. And this is a landmark that's really good if you have trade up. Because the Kurultai, you don't need more gold from the step redoubt. And the Kurultai is super effective in fights because it constantly heals all your units. and apply a 20% damage buff. That's very good for you. Alright, so we're going to take out all of his archers here. We do lose some of our own archers, but we are starting to get a really good economy up again because of the triple market. So I'm not too afraid of that. Got a little bit of a raid here, but now we're going to get control of the situation again. So we're going to be taking our prayer tent. What you can do here, something that's really cool, is you can take your prayer tent, put it on the oval, and then with the prayer tent, you can then double produce imams, but also get the improved healing. So a build you can go for is actually herbal medicine improved, which increases the healing rate of religious units by 90% instead of just 60. So double produce these guys and get the herbal medicine improved. Use that in your compositions. That's really strong. But that's not the goal here for this composition. We want to be going heavy on the range units. Then we want to build a good amount of siege and then take out our opponent that way. He's playing with a lot of range units himself, so we want to get mangonels. We also want to get springles because he can build siege in the field as well. Keep raiding, keep trying to take out villagers. Try to keep the numbers even. We're still relatively even up here. Keep the traders going. And then keep adding pastures so you have a good food economy. Build some more gurs at this point because you want to be maximizing wood income. And then just try to get good fights here. When you're fighting, take your Kurultai with you. Keep dropping it if he's kiting out of the range of it, because you're going to get so much more damage. These archers, these crossbows deal 16 damage base, and then plus another 11 for heavy. We're going to get from the blacksmith, the siege engineering improved, and then we're going to be building siege ourselves. This is the way you finish the game. So you build up the siege now. You want to be getting the springles, a couple of mangonels, so you don't take too much fire from their arrows, and so you can use the springles against the mangonels of your opponent. You can build towers like this. You can use the springle emplacements on them. That's going to be good for locking out and creating a stronghold yourself where you can fight from and fall back to. If your opponent goes for a push like this, that can be dangerous sometimes. But what you can do is you can force your opponent back by going in yourself. So if you have your entire army outside your opponent's base and they're pushing yours, you can just push him and then rally your new units over here. He's going for a keep drop, so we're going to drop 2 workshops and I'll make trebuchets. Move forward like this. Get into the opponent's production, camp that, try to take out as many villages as possible, and then see if you can win the game this way. He went back with his army, so my strategy worked here. And now we've got him cornered because we sit on top of his production, and he has to move in like this, which is very bad for him. Take some good fights, and then the game should be yours in just a second. There we go. That's how you play this build. The main goal is traders. Don't lose too much economy yourself. Play the game safe, methodically. If you lose your army, build a new one, and then try to finish the game in Castlage. You don't want to go Imperial, you can. If you go Imperial, play Siege again, but with hand cannoneers, and don't lose your trade. It's what keeps this build going. Right. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have fun with it. Hope you can win some games with it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. I have some links in the description. Check them out, and I'll see you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed this one.